Well, good morning, everybody. It's 9 o'clock. November 22nd. This is the week of Thanksgiving week. So I have to, I'm team meat. You know, we have team potato, team vegetable, team meat, and team gravy. I'm team meat and team gravy. So I have to figure out about the turkey thing, you know, brining it and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Which means you take the turkey and wash it out. It has to be thawed out, of course. So you either get a fresh turkey or you thaw out a frozen one. But you thaw it out. This is 24 hours in advance of cooking him, her. Not too sure how you determine that, but no. Rinse it out. Make sure you take out the bag of stuff, you know, liver, gizzards, and neck, and all that out of the cavity of the turkey. Rinse all that out. And then fill up get your largest pot, something that if you fill it with water, you know, with about an inch. Producers, would you add me to the display? There you go. Hello. So you fill that big pot up, which is probably a 10-quart pot, 12-quart pot, big pot. I have a real big one, big tall stainless steel one that you can make volumes of soup or boil lobsters, you know, which I don't do anymore. I have them steamed. Wherever you buy the live Maine lobsters, you're going to have a lobster feast whenever. But anyway, back to the turkey. You need depending on the size of your turkey, but if you're going to have an 18-pounder, let's do that, which is what we get, 18, 19 pound. You know, we don't have 14 people over, so, and we've also determined that if you're going to if you have a real big crowd, you know, like 12 or 14, which we used to have when we were younger and had kids in the house and relatives come over and all that kind of stuff. And what we do is we'd buy 2 17-pound turkeys or 2 16-pound turkeys and cook them together in the oven. Spatchcock them, which means you cut out the back of the turkey, both sides. You get some real heavy-duty shears, kitchen shears, and you know, a thawed out bird, and you cut out the entire backbone, and you cut it on both sides. You know, so you end up with a backbone. It looks like a turkey neck, so to speak, but it's about that size. You know, so it'd be like an inch and a half wide, and you know, the length of the turkey, and you flatten it out. So the breasts are down. You flatten it out, and the breasts are down. That way, the whole turkey is this high off the pan. You know, you wonder why the white meat is. Let's get back to brining. Sorry. So you rinse out the turkey, you put it in a pot of water, you fill it halfway with water and salt like a cup of salt, stir it around. Salt doesn't dissolve that quickly and cool in room temperature or cold water. Matter of fact, salt is one of the few ingredients that you can add to water that is not affected by the temperature of the water so much. A little bit, but not much. So if you have a pot of cold water as opposed to a pot of hot water, when you put a cup of salt in there, a full cup of kosher salt, which is the easiest way to buy bulk salt, you still use a spatula to, and you sway it back and forth in the pot. Better to do that before the turkey's in there, so that most of the salt or all the salt is dissolved. And don't go too farther past about 60% of the pot of water, because when you put the turkey in there, the water level is going to go up. The displacement of the turkey and the water. So then you can top it off, so make sure the turkey is fully submerged. If it's not going to be fully submerged, the little bit on the right, flip it over so the back is on the top. Because remember, you're going to cut the back out. So if the back, isn't quite so much under the water, it's not the end of. You're trying to tenderize the meat, and you're not going to eat the back. So breast down, back up. And you have to you have to keep it cool. Because you have to keep it refrigerated, because you don't want things to turn sour on you. So you put the pot with the turkey in it, with the water, in a big cooler. A big cooler. So go find where you have your big cooler, and put the pot with the turkey in there, and then get yourself, a large bag of ice. The big bag that costs you $8 or $10. It's part of the cost of cooking. And then throw that in the cooler. You can put some ice in the top of the pot if you want. In case you didn't fill it up all the way, you can fill it up the rest of the way with ice. But put ice on both sides of the pot in the cooler. Go ahead, use the whole damn bag. And that way the ice will be, refrigerating the pot, because the ice is on the outside of the pot. So you mound up the ice on both sides of the pot. Move the cooler over to the middle. Move the pot over to the middle of the cooler, and make sure there's ice on both sides. And with your hands or with a spatula, push the ice up against the metal of the pot. If you have a lid for the cooler, go ahead and close that lid. Because if you have a couple of cats, you don't want them scratching at the turkey. Because then you're going to try to eat that sucker, even though it's raw. Cats chase birds and eat them, and they don't cook them; they eat them raw. Anyway, so that's how you brine the turkey, and do that, 12, 14 hours. So if you're going to eat it, 2 or 3 in the afternoon, do this procedure at midnight. That way it goes through the whole night in the salty, briny. You can put seasoning in there. There's some brining salt mixtures that are now available in some of your more fully equipped, grocery stores. Even, some of the grocery stores like Publix will have, it comes in a box, and they call it brining salt. So examine it, find out how much salt is in there, and if it doesn't have at least a full cup of salt in the brining mixture, you can add some kosher salt if you add the brining mixture to the water. Anyway, that sits with the turkey for 12 to 14 hours. That's what it should say on the box. It may say 8, but you're trying to tenderize the meat, and we've gone 12 to 14 hours with an 18, 19 pound turkey, and it does just fine. And there's something about that salt mixture that tenderizes the meat. That's why you're brining the turkey. And it makes a very, very juicy, tender turkey. Anyway, so we always brine the turkey. Since about 8 or 10 years ago, and our son Brandon, who is our chef du jour, chef all the time, so we basically default to Brennan on just about everything in the kitchen. Even though I'm team meat. Like New Year's, generally we get ourselves, the tradition is to get a ham, but you can get a full, rib roast. I think what they call a rib roast. Prime rib roast. Prime. Get like 4 bones. 4 big rib bones worth of, which is about 9 pounds if you're going to serve 4 to 5 people. Get a 9-pounder. Because remember, you got a lot of bone and you got a lot of stuff between the bone. And, by the time you figure out how much real meat there is in that, that's edible, because you have a lot of fat, which is good. You want fat. Fat has the flavor. So you want some of that fat permeating the meat. And we slow cook that. Let me go back. So we're brining the turkey. You do that for 12 or 14 hours. If it's another couple of extra hours, it's not going to hurt anything. Just make sure you got enough ice in the cooler, because you want the temperature of the liquid and the turkey that's in there. You want that to be, like 50 degrees or lower. So, because you don't want, you want to make sure the bacteria that's normally floating around inside the body of a turkey, and the processing and packaging and rinsing and handling it, bacteria. So you want to make sure that pot stays, below 55, best, or lower, but not freezing. You're not going to freeze it even though you fill it with a bunch of ice. And you can go in there and prop up the ice against the side of the pot, which would then tend to transfer the coldness of the ice through the walls of the pot into the water. And you'd be surprised how cold that water gets inside the pot. Remember, you put the pot in there with the turkey, and you fill it up with water. You have brining salt in there, which is a seasoning and salt. Make sure that read the directions on the brining salt mixture, and see if you can determine how much salt is in there. And it wouldn't hurt any if you put a full cup of kosher salt, coarse kosher salt, in there with the brining salt. Because you want to make sure there's enough salt in there. The seasoning, that doesn't do much tenderizing. The salt does, the salt water. So if you want to add brining salt into the pot, that's fine. But put a cup of salt in there in addition to that, or buy 2 boxes of brining salt, and throw that in the pot of water. Remember, you fill the pot about halfway up, big pot. Put the brining mixture in there first, stir it around for about 10 minutes. And I mean 10 minutes. You got a spatula in there, and you're going back and forth and mixing that water. Remember, it's half full. And then throw that turkey in there upside down. Breast side down. All the pictures you see of the turkey, that's breast side up. When you see those pictures, I probably have some in there. Let's see if I can find a couple of turkey pictures. There's one. Look at that. See, that's breast side up. That's, you want that. You want to turn them upside down when it's in the brining mixture, because you want to make sure the breasts are fully submerged. You don't eat the back. So that's not, if your pot isn't that big, and part of the turkey is not submerged, have the back, because no one eats the back. That you would, rinse off after the brining, after the cooking. You go ahead and cook that. You can cook the neck and the back and all that stuff together, or put it in a pot of water, rinse it off, put it in a pot of water, and not so much water. A couple of quarts of water, 3 quarts of water, say, and boil up all the oddball parts that you don't eat or display in another pot. You boil up that for a couple of hours, because that's going to be the base for your gravy. Oh yeah, and then we're going to add some flour to that, to thicken it up a little bit. Yeah. So that's the preliminaries of 14 hours before you cook the turkey. So you have to add that time, 12 to 14 hours, and then you got like 3 hours or something to cook the turkey, or 2.5, 3 hours. If you spatchcock them, meaning you cut out the back, and then you open it up, push it down, so that the turkey and the legs all are flat in the pan, and the whole thing is not more than 5 inches above the bottom of the pan, as opposed to not spatchcocking it and leaving it as the way you get it, which is all contained in a football sized turkey, bigger, where the breasts are up and the wings and the back are down. You spatchcock it, you cut out the back, and take that turkey and flip it like this, push it down on the pan, and the whole thing is about 4 or 5 inches. Turn that oven up to 300, 350. Cover it with aluminum foil, season the top, so you can, that part, you season it up when the skin is on the meat, so to speak. Go ahead and sprinkle, anything you sprinkle on, seasoning, salt and pepper, if nothing else. Sprinkle a little oregano on there. You have some parsley and sprinkle that on there. And then you can paint it with butter first if you want. And then it's ready to put that sucker in the oven. Cook it for, depending on the size of the turkey, 2.5, 3 hours. You take a little time off that if you're spatchcocked it, meaning you cut out the back and open it up, push it down out of the pan. If you're going to cook it this way, the way it's shown here, you have to add time, about 45 minutes. Spatchcocking, yeah, that's a great way to cook a turkey or a big chicken. Anyway, somewhere in my photos, because remember, let's take a peek. I'll go to settings, hit about, and let's look down. See, I'm a beta tester for Apple, which means I've got advanced versions of the operating system. And you can see it says up here on the second line, 18.2. And then in brackets, 22C. And then there's a 4-digit number, 5142A. So within 18.2, 22C, 5142. So the beta gives you an early preview of the upcoming apps, features, technologies. I want you to back up your iPad before you install the beta, in case the beta has a fault that freezes up your device or whatever. You don't want to lose all your data. So back it up first. I've been a Apple beta tester for 10 or 12 years, or maybe longer. And there we go. Let's turn him down a little bit. I can't hear myself think. Anyways, that's why you see 18.2. Most people, are 17.4 or 5, 6 or something. You should be able to get version 18 as a regular user, as opposed to a beta user of the operating system. And you can see with this iPad, which is not the newest iPad on the market, it's a 12.9 5th generation. Anyway, Apple Care renews 12/22, which is next month. We've already, today we paid for the monthly, which is like $9 a month or something. See, I can press on that, and I'm covered. Accidental damage, hardware service, express replacement. So if it's all frozen up, you can request an express replacement, which means they want to charge your account, not charge it, but reserve. It's like a processing, when you process a credit card, it posts to your credit card, which, and then as soon as they get the frozen one, they unfreeze your money. You could go into the Apple Store if they have, the version of the device that you're trying to express replace. Anyway, so that's what happens if you press that button. Back. Coming up, the reason why I opened this up, 95,619 photos and 514 video clips. So, if I want to find the spatchcocking, I can either search it with the word spatchcocking, if I happen to put spatchcocking in the header, as a caption of the photo. From now on, you should caption your photos. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. And then you can search with the captions, and you find your images right away. Or you can sort the images by date and go back, to every Thanksgiving, third week in November, last year, the year before. And you have pictures of your spatchcocking. That's the easiest way to find a photo. Is you can look at your photos by date. The operating system gives you a choice of doing that. And when you got 95,000 photos, that's a whole lot of photos. It takes up, space. I don't try to erase them or delete them. I just, every year when I get or every 3 years when I get an iPad, I keep increasing the amount of onboard storage. And they're up to a terabyte, which is 1,000 gigabytes. I'm using about a half of that. So with my operating system, all my photos and videos and apps and so forth, I got 475 apps on there, which I try to delete them as much as often as I can. Because you try out an app and, if you don't decide to delete it right away, they add up. So then you got to go back through all these apps. Look at them. I see every time I turn the page, it's another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I got this 30 apps per page. So I'm swiping. I'm going through here 30, 60, 90, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 times 5. Oh, God. 700 apps or so. Let's see what this is. It's not that much. I was counting a little faster than, so let's go back here. Oh, God, yeah. Damn. I do have 736 apps on this sucker. Yeah, I haven't reduced. I think what I'm going to do, I hate to do it, is to restore this app, this whole iPad. In other words, erase the whole thing. Which, you go general, and then you go all the way to the bottom of general. And it says transfer or reset iPad. I'm going to press that. And down the bottom here, it says erase all contents and settings. You want to press that one, and it's going to say, are you sure? Because you're going to have an iPad just like the first day you had it. We are not going to do that. You hit the back button and just get out of here. And then so that cleans off that iPad. And it says, do you want to restore, from an iPad that you saved, in your iCloud. And if I look at this iPad, the reason why I'm considering doing that, the reason why I don't want to do it is you got to put all the passwords back in. And that's always a headache because, all the passwords aren't the same. I'm going to go to About on this iPad, which is not connected to my system here. Yeah, only 487 apps. 95,000 photos. Got all the photos. The apps don't necessarily sync. So if you erase an app off this one, it doesn't necessarily erase. It does not erase the app on this one. But I've gone through, the apps on this iPad and tried to optimize. This is the newest iPad I have in my little inventory of equipment. See, this is the iPad Pro 13-inch with an M4 chip. So this little guy is like really thin. It looks like 6 millimeters thin. It's really thin, and dark. I got a black slate, or whatever they call it. It's almost black. Because the iPad that I had was like 4 years old, ceased to work. The battery, whatever. And so I had an insurance policy on everything electronic. And Assure, one of those things. pay $25 a month. Covers everything. Big screen TV goes kapooey. You call them and they'll fix it or replace it. Then it beat that. They got 2 laser printers in here in the setup. Yeah, got all kinds of equipment. But a lot of all this is old stuff except for this this iPad I just explained, and this computer system behind there that's operating our channel here, our live simultaneous broadcast. So go back to photos. There we go. So we brine our turkeys. If you haven't done it, try it. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt. Now, if you have room, in your refrigerator, you don't have to do this cooler business. You just put the whole, I suggest you put the brining water in there and turn the thing upside down. And if you got 2 inches of space on the top of your pot, fill it, let's say another inch with ice cubes, and that'll give you a little head start on making sure that water is below 50 degrees. Your refrigerator should be running 42, 43 degrees. Yeah. But that, that's not 32 degrees. When you have it in the cooler and the ice is, propped up against the side of the pot, and you open up that cooler every, couple hours, except if it's in the middle of the night, but that'll cool down. Put it in the refrigerator. I'd add an inch of ice on top of that pot. The brining mixture, the turkey's upside down, all that. Put an inch of ice on top of that pot. And then you can slide that in the refrigerator if you can make room. I'd never have enough room in the refrigerator to do that. Don't put it on the top shelf. Yeah, there's not usually room on the top shelf, depending on how you have your shelves lined up. But if you can figure out how to put that in your refrigerator, have at it. When we were raising babies and all that stuff, we had a house, with a 3-car garage and this and that. We had a refrigerator out in the garage, in the utility area of the garage, which we used to have beverages and stuff in there. Well, I can make room in that one. I just slip that turkey brining thing in the refrigerator out in the utility room or the garage. But we got 1,550 square feet and a average size condominium unit, 2 bedrooms and a den, 2 bathrooms, nice big living room, dining room, open design. 85-inch TV up on one wall, couches and everything wrapped around, a big coffee table facing the TV, L-shaped couches, U-shape actually, big U of seating around the TV thing. And I tell you what, you can go to if you have a modern flat screen TV. This is 4 years old TV, so it's still almost modern, but it's got most of the ingredients. So with your TV, go to the options area of your remote control and find YouTube. So if you can get YouTube on your TV, do that, and then you can, in the search feature, type aquarium, and YouTube has a 3-hour and a 12-hour aquarium, and you put that on your big screen TV, and you got a huge aquarium in your room. You know, and you're walking around, you're not watching TV. You can play your music, or the aquarium has music associated with it, or you can have aquarium sounds like, you know, bubbling water and, you know, that kind of thing. Or you could, you know, YouTube terrarium, and they'll give you a picture of a terrarium with crabs walking around, you know. Yeah, it's kind of amazing. Or you can say YouTube kaleidoscope, and then the whole screen is like a giant kaleidoscope, and it's constantly moving. So that's always kind of cool. But it's cheaper than having an aquarium. You can go YouTube country fireplace, and then you got this burning fire, and you hear the wood, the wood popping, you know. So you have your stereo, your sound system turned on a little bit, so you can hear the popping sounds that you would hear, you know, with a nice big fireplace. And so you got this 85-inch TV on the wall. There's a fireplace, and you know, people walking around and, you know, chatting, and you look over there, and there's a nice fireplace. You can put your hand over there, and you can feel the heat coming from the fireplace. You know, with mental, you know, because you're so used to feeling heat when looking at a fireplace like that. And with these modern TVs, you know, with 4K, if you have 4K video capability with your, you know, your TV package, you're buying a TV, make sure it's capable of 4K display, which means you've got that 1080 times 4 with a number of pixels all the way across the length of the screen. And then it'd be about 3200 pixels down. So that's 4K. That's a 1080p times 4. 1080p used to be, you know, the dimensions of like the display in an iPad or something. Although I think and even in the early versions of the iPad, it was 2K. So the earlier TVs, flat screen, were 2K. The later screens, like one we have on the wall there, 85-inch Samsung. I was recommended by a friend, get the Samsung. It's got the best display, the best color. So I went through Costco, and they usually have all kinds of those big screens. I mean, you can see 20 of them. And I walk up and down the aisles for a couple of years looking at all these flat screeners, because I was getting ready to move into, you know, our apartment here on the 8th floor at Royal Palm Place. And I was going to rescreen the place because I had, you know, the old big box rear projection large screen, which was good for its time. But, you know, these displays now, whew, God, it's like a giant iPad. You know, whew. So, all right, so that's my turkey. Next week is Turkey Week. All right, this is Friday, so you got 7 days to go. So in the next 3 or 4 days, you better be buying that turkey. We're gonna buy a fresh one, not frozen, I believe. Hopefully. So there's the yeah. So you remember when recently, over the weekend, SpaceX launched this spaceship has its own engines, big stainless steel. I mean, this is a big thing. Yeah, it's got calipers, and you look at it like this, and it could be a toothpick. No, it's big. That is 30 feet across. That's a 30-foot diameter, and 100 something feet tall. And that sits on top of this booster. This is just the top bit of it. They bolt that together with some kind of exploding bolts, because once it gets up, past the, after about a minute and 10 seconds after liftoff, the booster separates from the second stage, which is really the rocket ship part. Anyway, they had it so that the booster was caught. It has a couple of doodads on each side of this thing, so that the booster engine was caught like a couple months ago. And you saw this huge thing come down and, get caught by the calipers that are on the top of these calipers. And the thing settled right into the middle of the bed of calipers. I mean, it's like, are you kidding me? Yep, they figured out how to do that. Software control, baby. There's not a guy on there with a joystick. I don't think so. And the reason why I say that, although I'm sure you could practice that good enough, you know how these kids are with the video games. I'm sure you could play this video game thing, catch the booster, until you get really good with it on a joystick. But this is, engineered software controlled, that's already loaded into the onboard computer. There's an onboard computer inside the booster. And it communicates with this huge. I mean, if a guy was standing on there, he could barely reach the top of this bracket. And I'm looking at it right there. Yeah. That gives you some idea of just how big this is. It doesn't look that big. It's big. It's really big. But you're looking up from the ground with a telephoto lens. And unless you're really standing there looking up at it, you don't realize that it's a 40-story office building, 30 feet in diameter. So that's a pretty skinny office building. But it's but with the top and the bottom, with the first stage and the booster attached. I'm sorry, the second stage and the booster attached to it. It stands, 400 feet tall. 400 feet tall. The booster's 236 feet, and you add, another 100 and something feet, you're up to the tip of that thing. It's like 400. It's over 400 feet. Anyway, everyone was hoping they could see the booster come back, where these calipers then would catch the booster. And it didn't happen. They aborted it it takes about 8 minutes for the booster to go up, push this thing up, get it up to, 5,800 kilometers per hour. And then the second stage has its own engines to get it up to 17,000 miles an hour. But the booster gets it up off the ground and moving it, 2,000 or 3,000 miles an hour. And then the second stage has its own engines. There's 6 of them. Big ones, big flutes, and not so big flutes. That's because some of these engines can start and restart in the vacuum of space, whereas on the ground, you got these ones with the big flutes, which can start and restart in, at STP, at standard temperature and pressure down here on the surface of the Earth. Yeah. Anyway, so why did the booster, basically soft land, in the Gulf of Mexico? Because the booster stopped communicating with this tower. There are antennas on top of this tower. So when it launches, the calipers are wide open so that this vehicle can take off. Well, the last time it took off, it damaged the antennas on top of this launch stanchion, whatever they call it. So that the booster didn't communicate with the tower. So because there was no communication between the booster and the tower, even though the booster and the GPS locations of it, and the engines and thrusters and these paddles were all adjusted to bring it back to the launch pad, since the booster was not connected radiology-wise to this stanchion. They figured, we got the president watching this. Let's not take any chances. We don't have to have the booster connected to the stanchion because we're controlling it from the control station here. The stanchion itself is not the primary source for communicating with the booster in the landing procedure, where it catches it with the calipers. That's controlled with the computers on the booster and the ground station. Where you see all the TV displays. When you got 20 or 30 people watching the pressures and the temperatures and all kinds of gauges that they watch when the engines are actually operating. They can tell what the chamber pressure is because that's communicated back and forth to the headquarters of the launch situation in Boca Chica. Now there will be a time, it's not now, where the booster will communicate with this tower thing, and it'll adjust each other back and forth so it does a successful catch when the booster comes back to Earth. But at the present time, that software is a little fresh because we're only in launch. This last launch, last weekend, was, the test flight 6. So we're in the early to mid, design stages of this whole rocket system to Mars. A couple more launches, I'd probably say, now I am pulling this right out of my tuchus because I am not a launch engineer. But if someone had a gun to my head and said, how many more of these things are we going to have to see, before they got this thing down pat so they can have people in there and they're going to be safe, I would say they're halfway. So we just saw launch 6. It'd be launch 10 or 12. before it's safe enough for people to be in the second stage in this thing that you're seeing in the middle of your screen. This right here. Yeah. That's the insides of that. They're all going to be equipped with people in there and, launch screens and, it can hold up to 100 people in there. With the proper seating and the strapping in and all this stuff and oxygen, and pressurization, well, that'll be installed in, version 10 of this. Yeah, but not now. Right now, it's pretty much a empty situation. With video, they put a banana. They put a banana on a plate and anchored it in the middle of the sucker somewhere. Last one. And they had video cameras on there to make sure the banana, wouldn't crush or cook or, So if you saw some of the launch engineers in Boca Chica, they had black shirts with a banana in the middle. Elon and some of these top engineers are just trying to be regular for the people. You can't be all technology. You gotta, the NASA people are a little too stuffy. They get in there for so long, and they're all professors of this and that, and highly trained engineers, and they act like they're above all of us peons here on Earth. Well, we're not peons. We may not be trained in whatever the heck, but we can make a mean scrambled egg. Yeah. So I try to play engineer, which, what the heck. It's not that complicated, right? We're all modern folks. So that's a picture where they're getting ready to put the top of that baby on top of the booster. This is really big. It's a 10-story building that's 30 feet in diameter, and they're going to put that on, a 30-story building. The whole thing becomes 40 stories. Geez. 400 feet tall. The combination of those two things, 400 feet tall. At 11 feet per floor. Do the math. I'll do the math. God darn it. I'm going to clear that first. They're going to say it's 400 feet tall. That's close. Divided by 11.5 feet per floor. When you're building a building. All right, let's just make it 12. That includes the floor slab. Equal sign. Where is it? There it is. 33-story building. 33-story building. Ouch. You look up to a 33-story building, you look up like that, holy mackerel. And it's 30 feet in diameter, which is like 30 feet, the whole length of our living room, dining room thing here. I think it's 32 feet. It's close enough. Unbelievable. All right. You can see we have a calculator right here on my iPad. We're going to clear that. There you go. See how we cleared it? This has got all kinds of features in here. It also can multiply and divide. All right. There's Instacart. I ordered something yesterday. It was like 9 items. And they delivered it to the wrong place. So I'm not even going to fill out this. I'll give them 3 stars. Yeah. Come on, go to the right address. Yeah. Skip. Let's get out of here. Get out of the calculator. So here's YouTube. Yep. Elon's speech. I'm into listening to Elon, you know, how they're doing with their cars, how they're doing with their robots. There you go. See, I can press this right here. It's the full finger control.
Elon, he's a techno king.
Look at that, I can hear stuff.
Optimus can talk?
Yeah. Go to the sign language.
Stop. Let's see if we can do that.
Hey Optimus, what's up?
Of course I can do it.
How's it going, man?
Come on, Control Center. Remember?
What do you think of the new Cybercab? Cybercab looks amazing. I know. I'm trying to get a ride. Dude, me too.
All right, let me.
Elon, he's a techno king. Optimus can talk?
Yeah. Go to the sign language.
Yeah, I hit the playthrough. Oh, good.
Hey
Now I'm
Optimus,
gonna
what's up?
Turn the volume up.
How's it going, man? Enjoying the party? What do you think of the new Cybercab? Cybercab looks amazing. I know. I'm trying to get a ride. Dude, me too. Elon.
How cool is that?
He's a techno
I made
king.
this humanoid robot, and it can talk to you.
Optimus can talk?
Yeah. Go to the sign language.
Amazing.
Hey Optimus, what's up?
It's a private party that Elon had
Enjoying the party?
in Los Angeles, California.
What do you think of the new
in the
Cybercab?
Warner Brothers big
Cybercab
soundstage,
looks amazing. I know. I'm trying to get
which
a
has
ride.
got cities.
Dude, me too.
You know, it has this
Elon.
city over here that looks like London.
Techno king.
The city over here, streets, you know, with buildings. It's
Optimus
all,
can talk?
you know, phony buildings. And then you got over here, you got a Manhattan kind of scenes,
Hey Optimus, what's up?
sidewalks and cafes.
How's it going,
Yeah. You populate it with a bunch of.
What do you think of the new
Echoes and
Cybercab? Cybercab looks
Anyway, that's where they had this
I
party.
know. I'm trying to get a ride.
And it's
Dude,
talking
me
to
too.
this robot.
Elon.
Optimus, they call it.
He's a techno
So you
king.
want to do searches, search on Optimus. I will
Optimus
have,
can talk?
Yeah.
if I live long enough,
Go to the sign language.
I'm crowding 80, so hurry up!
Hey Optimus, what's up?
Yeah, I don't want to miss Optimus. So,
Party?
you know, I figure in a
What do you
couple of
think of the
years
new
Optimus will
Cybercab?
be ready, you know, where I could
looks amazing.
rent one for
I know.
$150, $200 a month.
Dude, me too.
I asked Marilyn a couple of weeks ago. I said, look, if I could get Optimus for $250 a month,
Optimus can talk?
Yeah.
they could watch after me. You know, I'd be 82 years old or, you know, 80, whatever.
Hey Optimus, what's up?
You can be doing this and that, and, you know,
Enjoying the party?
maybe you're still even working at the
What do you
bank. Who
think
the
of the
heck
new
knows?
Cybercab?
But if you go off on a journey I don't want to go on, you can leave me with Optimus, and Optimus
me
can
too.
look after me
Elon.
and help me cook lunch and go get me more iced tea.
Optimus can
whatever.
talk?
Yeah.
Optimus, get me some iced tea.
Go to the sign language.
I'm going to call him Charles. Charles?
Hey Optimus, what's up?
He said, what are you going to call it? I said, I'm going to call him Charles. It's
Enjoying the party?
my humanoid butler.
What do you think of the new Cybercab?
And I'm going to say, Charles,
Cybercab looks
would you
amazing.
please take the
I know.
trash
I'm
down
trying
to
to get
the
a ride.
trash room?
Dude, me too.
Now you have to show
Elon.
Charles how to do
Techno
that.
king.
So for the first couple of times, say, Charles,
Optimus
I'm
can
going to
talk?
do this
Yeah.
with you, so you know where to
the
go.
sign language.
And as
Hey Optimus,
you know,
what's
you
up?
put it in training mode, or maybe it's always in training mode. You know, with the way the computers are. The computer
think
that's
of the
in the
new
chest
Cybercab?
of this thing.
Cybercab
That's where
looks
it's the same computer
I
board
know.
that they have
Dude,
in my
me
Tesla
too.
vehicle.
Elon.
So instead of being connected to four wheels, it's connected to two arms and two legs.
Optimus
You
can
know, the
talk?
actuators are different,
Go to the sign language.
but you got the the four ports, arms and
Hey
legs,
Optimus, what's up?
which is the four wheels,
How's it going, man?
and then you have the head and all that, which is like the inside
What do you
of the
think of the
Tesla
new
car,
Cybercab?
and those cameras
Cybercab
and
looks amazing.
audio
I
systems
know.
that you enjoy if you have a Tesla.
Dude, me too.
So that'll be the connections that go into the head, with the cameras in the front, which would be,
Optimus can talk?
the eyes, so to speak,
Go to the sign language.
and the voice. Because I talk to, you talk
Optimus,
to the
what's up?
Tesla and say,
How's it going, man?
take me to Maryland's bank,
Going to party?
and it'll take me to Maryland's bank.
What do you think of the new
Yeah,
Cybercab?
you may have to help it with some steering, but you sit there and the car will take you to Maryland's
I'm trying to
bank.
get a ride. Dude, me too.
Open up the glove box, please. And the glove box opens up over here. I mean, the Tesla cars are really
Optimus can talk?
quite magical.
Go to the sign
Let me leave
language.
this open.
Hey,
Anyway,
Optimus,
so
what's up?
this is, you're looking at,
How's it going, man?
I believe YouTube. Yeah.
Enjoying the party?
So we have to
What do you think of the new Cybercab?
shrink this down.
Cybercab.
Or you just page up and down here. So here's Optimus fooling around with an egg. So that shows you how gentle the hands can be and the fingers. And they've, styled it like a human hand. Because the way it operates and the knuckles and how many joints it has. They tried to have, Elon and company have made it so that, how do we engineer the best hand? Because we can make it any way we want, right? Well, they ended up making it like a human hand with the different sections, you got 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can see it's got the same number of knuckles and things. For grabbing things. And you really they designed the hand with one less digit. And it just wasn't flexible enough to be able to grab things like they're doing right there with the egg. You may have seen that before. There's Optimus. I gotta have one of those. And you put clothes on it. What the heck? I have pants and a shirt and suspenders and maybe a bow tie. White shirt with a bow tie. No cufflinks. I just can't wait to walk Charles. Remember, I'm calling him Charles. Charles, come with me while we take the trash to the trash room. You carry the trash. It can carry up to like 40 pounds. So you just hand the trash bag, say, hey, Charles, go get the trash. I would have so much fun with that. I'd probably die laughing. But can you imagine? Charles and I are walking down to the trash room, and some other people come out in the hallway. And they see me walking down the trash room with a frickin' robot. They would look and say, what the hell? I swear to God. So we live in Boca Raton, downtown Boca Raton. And there's probably 15,000 people that live downtown. Maybe 20,000. I did a survey a few years ago, and there were like 12,000 people. So, it's got to be 18, maybe it's 20,000 people by now. So, there's a lot of, coffee shops and so forth. I definitely want to take Charles. Charles, come with me. We're going to go have coffee at Swells. Sir, how many will be with you? I said, this will be a party of 2, Charles and myself. And he'll be looking around and saying, where the hell's Charles? I said, that's my friend right over here. My robot friend, his name is Charles. Be nice. He'll whack you in the face. He'll look over there. James, we're not going to whack him in the face. I said, okay, let's quietly go to the table. And he'll sit down at the table with me while I'm having coffee. I said, Charles, you just look around and measure everything because we have to go up and go somewhere. I want you to be really familiar with where we are, in this space. Meantime, I'm going to order, a latte with cream and sugar. Okay? Yeah. sugars. Add 4 sugars to that latte. We didn't have it. They can add it when they're mixing. Yes, sir. I want to go to Sequela with Charles. I mean, it could be Robbie the Robot, but that's like, that's like there were comic books way back 40 or 50 years ago. Comic books. Now it's all in the iPads and computer screens. Yep, Charles, let's go to Sequela. I think if, what, I'd have to take, I said, Marilyn, come on, let's go out to dinner. Can we take Charles with us? Table for 3, please. Marilyn, Jimmy, and Charles. Yes. Not every time, but that'd be kind of cool. Let's go. Marilyn, let's go to Flanagan's. We'll drive over there. But I'd like to take Charles with us. Would that be okay? He'll sit in the back seat of the car. I've trained him on how to get in the car. Yeah. Hey, Elon says you can do anything with this thing. Anything you want. Optimus can do. I'm calling him Charles. So he's going to keep doing the egg thing. I have to swipe up. Oh, here's a robotic bird. I don't want a robotic bird. There's some other robots. See, they spend time with all this stupid dog stuff. Now, they have these robotic dogs at Mar-a-Lago. And they walk all the way around, it's like a 40-acre campus. And that's walking, back and forth. But the U.S. Secret Service has several of these dogs that has a microphone. If they can get see the pointy thing sticking out front. That's not a gun. That's a boom microphone, or at least the one that's walking around. That's like $100,000 a copy. Can you imagine? $100,000 a copy. I don't think so.
Have you ever heard of an acoustic levitator?
What? I thought it was some sort of guitar.
Yeah, I'm swiping through all these YouTube thingies. This is landing. Watch this. This is one of these devices that's coming through the atmosphere, falling back to Earth from the edges of space. This is the booster. This is the booster, I think, going to be caught. Is this the... Yeah, oh my God, look at this. Watch this. It's in living color, baby. Yeah. Make that full screen. There we go. There it goes. The engines are igniting. We'll slow it down further. You think that's a small flame. It's huge. Remember a 10-story office building. Look at this. It's coming right between the calipers. Nice, gentle. They're so far away from this telephoto lens that it's like got a 2 or 3 second delay before you hear the rocket engines. That's coming through at 3,000 or 4,000 miles an hour, and that is the atmosphere glowing. I don't think I can expand that now. That's why that looks so hot, because the atmosphere is heating that up. Bam, now the engines have ignited, and that's slowing that sucker down big time. There's 3 of those Raptor engines, and now it's going back and forth, deciding if it's going to land. Yeah. See, they don't want that thing to explode and knock down this 50-story tower. Now this piece is 500,000 pounds. Just to give you an idea, it's a little more than 500,000 pounds. So it's a big, heavy thing. I mean, it's got 6, Merlin Raptor engines in there. And you got all that stainless steel and whatever the heck is inside it. This is the booster. Remember, this is 236 feet tall by 30 feet in diameter. And look at those engines. Whoa! They're on gimbals so they can move. And it's coming at an angle and straightens itself up, and it gently lands itself in the calories. See, now those engines that just cut off, you can still hear the sound because you're 3 or 4 miles away from this thing with a big telephoto lens. They're capturing that coming right out of the sky. This is crazy good. I'm so glad I could show you this. Now you can't hear anything. It's going through the sound barrier. There's been a sonic boom and all that. But since you're like, I think 4 or 5 miles away here, it takes, sound travels at 1,100 feet per second on Earth. So you hear that boom, boom? That's when the engine started. That's the shock wave from the engines. It's just like a controlled explosion on the bottom end of that. I mean, that is 500,000 pounds, and it's 236 feet tall, 30 feet in diameter, 500,000 pounds at that caliper. That is really heavy-duty steel structure for a 500-pound device to gently land on it and not tip over. So you can imagine the rigidity of that stanchion. See, now you didn't hear the sound pressure from that explosion when the engine started. You're going to hear it, it's like 5-6 second delay. Wow. You still haven't heard it. There we go, now we're hearing it. I mean, you can count seconds, right? From the time you see the light. So that's traveling at 186,000 miles an hour. Where the sound is traveling at 1,100 feet per second. Which is, 300 miles an hour, maybe. So let's count from the time we see the engine start. I'm going to count with you. You look over here on the clock. 1,000. 11 seconds. Okay, 11 seconds. Let's multiply that by 5 seconds per mile. 11 seconds. It's 2.5 miles away. That was a pretty good guess. It's 11 seconds for the sound to get from that rocket engine ignition to where this camera is. It took 11 seconds for the sound to get to the camera. Because sound travels at 1,100 feet per second, whereas light travels at 186,000 miles per hour. Oh, yeah, look at that. See, I was just counting from the clock here. It's 11 seconds. And then all of a sudden you're going to hear it right about the time it catches it. Bam! You hear that bam, bam. That's crazy amazing. That's a really big thing. Aside from the accomplishment, but it's a big thing. Yeah, all right. Cool.
In Pakistan, square I developed the Ability Hand. It's the fastest bionic hand on the market. It's the first to provide touch feedback to users, and you can
I can just keep
This
going.
pistol will stop anyone with bad intentions. The Byrna HD fires CO2-powered projectiles that burst on impact, releasing a cloud of irritants up to 60 feet away. It's perfect for personal and home defense.
Wow.
It's non-lethal, but works well to stop attackers without causing serious harm. Plus, you don't need a permit to own it in most states across the U.S. Can you think of a better way to protect yourself? This pistol will stop anyone with bad intentions. The Byrna HD fires CO2-powered projectiles that burst on impact, releasing a cloud of irritants up to 60 feet away. It's perfect for personal and home defense. It's non-lethal, but works well to stop attackers without causing serious harm. Plus, you don't need a permit to own it in most states across the U.S. Can you think of a better way to protect yourself? This pistol will stop anyone with bad intentions. The Byrna HD fires CO2-powered projectiles that burst on impact, releasing a cloud of irritants up to 60 feet away. It's perfect for personal and home defense. It's non-lethal, but works well to stop attackers without causing serious harm. Plus, you don't need a permit to own it in most states across the U.S. Can you think of a better way to protect yourself? This pistol will stop anyone with bad intentions. The Byrna HD fires CO2-powered projectiles that burst on impact, releasing a cloud of irritants up to 60 feet away. It's perfect for personal and home defense. It's non-lethal, but works well to stop attackers without causing serious harm. Plus, you don't need a permit to own it in most states across the U.S. Can you think of a better way to protect yourself?
Let's hit
This
like.
pistol will stop anyone with bad intentions. The Byrna HD fires CO2-powered projectiles that burst on impact, releasing a cloud of irritants up to 60 feet away. It's perfect for personal and home defense. It's non-lethal, but works well to stop attackers without causing serious harm. Plus, you don't need a...
And there's the whole URL. Thank God I don't have to type all that. Whoops. Backspace. Jim, J-I-M-W-I-L. Come on, Jimmy, where are you? There I am. Right there. Just touch that. And get rid of the keyboard. Hit that blue arrow up.
Permit to own it in most states across the U.S. Can you think of a better way to protect yourself? This pistol will stop anyone with bad intentions. The Byrna HD fires CO2-powered projectiles that burst on impact, releasing a cloud of irritants up to 60 feet away. It's perfect for personal and home defense. It's non-lethal, but works well to stop attackers without causing serious harm. Plus, you don't need a permit to own it in most states across the U.S. Can you think of a better way to protect yourself? This pistol will stop anyone with bad intentions. The Byrna HD fires CO2-powered projectiles that burst on impact, releasing a cloud of irritants up to 60 feet away. It's perfect for personal and home defense. It's non-lethal, but works well to stop attackers without causing serious harm.
There we go. Let's get rid of this. And we'll get back to photos. Now I have to turn the volume down on this sucker because I had to go up all the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Because we'll finish up with the epidemic. I have to go to right here. And I'll hit the play button. There we go. Now we're now back to normal. Instead of listening to the sound on good, I have my iPad showing up here. And I hit play through, which means that when you have some kind of a movie, the sound and everything will come through the whole system, which I hope we heard with sufficient volume. I had to turn it up all the way. Yeah, because it's not going through my soundboard. With the preamplifiers, I can adjust the different sound levels. See, you can hear that, right? I'm going to turn him down a little bit so when you hear me, we're not competing with the epidemic so much. Yeah, I'm at 0. So I have that tension right smack in the middle there. That should be good, right? With this background sound. Yeah. All right, let's move this out of the way. Put that there. And now we're back to normal. Okay, producers. Add Jimmy to the scene. Yeah, remember, this is a Simulcast, right? We got 3 different networks, social networks, that are viewing this live video. It's YouTube Live, Facebook Live, which is where I started, and then I added YouTube, and then I added Twitter. The handle is FAU4U. So if you want to see a whole bunch of these broadcasts, in history, they're there forever. I am part of, the cloud. With these, I'm an hour and 20 minutes into this broadcast. We watched this thing come back to Earth several times, and the amazing power of those engines, and you hear you're there in person. Your lungs are vibrating with the sound pressure is so huge. If you've ever watched a blast off, but you haven't often seen the thing coming back and landing itself right in those 2. These are really big, heavy-duty things, because this sucker weighs on Earth 500,000 pounds. I mean, this is a heavy sucker, and it doesn't have any passengers in it. Imagine if you added 100 passengers. That would be additional weight, which they'd have to account for that how much, fuel and oxidizer that they have to have in the booster itself. If you have 100, geez, what would that be? Let's get our calculator out. Come on. We're all scientists here. So we'll say 100 times the average person weighs, let's just say 200 pounds to be safe. That's probably not a reasonable. Let's make it 190. I come down a little bit. Because, you get, no, that's too much. Because these are all going to be, let's just say 180 pounds a person. Boys are a little heavier, girls are not so heavy. So let's just say the average is 180. And you have to include some stuff for them. Now, let's go back to 200. Because they're going to have a suitcase, or some kind of case for their clothing other than their spacesuit. Under my pants, shoulder my pads. All right, 100 passengers. Elon says that first stage or second stage can handle a capacity of 100 passengers plus stuff, supplies, and whatever. The equal signs down here on the bottom. 100 times 200, what's that? 20,000 pounds. So if you're adding 20,000 pounds to that second stage, you have to account for that and how much energy we need in the booster. Right? Yeah. Because we're trying to get 100 people off Earth and away from Earth's gravity. Put it into orbit. Yes, sir. 20,000 pounds. That's right. If you had, $100 bills, each pack is 100 times 100 is 10,000. If you got 2 packs, that's 20,000. They can wrap bills in 10,000. When you see Hollywood and a guy gives us, a stack of bills that's, about the thickness of my thumb. Yeah, that's the $10,000. So they can put $10,000 in an envelope, and the envelope would, be putting it up against that light right there. It's about that thickness. Be the thickness of this finger. Yeah. This finger. Not the pinky finger. The first one. Yeah. You have new bills. They lay nice and flat, real flat. Yeah. When you get them from the Fed, they're in $10,000 packs, wraps. They wrap them $10,000 per wrap. And it says 10,000 on there, pre-printed on the wrap itself. A machine wraps it. But, bankers, when they count out their money, they separate the bills in hundreds and 50s and 20s and 10s, 5s and 1s. Get rid of the $1 bill and bring out the Susan B. Anthony dollar coin. We need to do that, because these dollar bills, it's costing the U.S. government too much money to keep printing $1 bills, and the Fed collecting the old worn out dollar bills, which last a few years, and then they have to get rid of them because they're all worn out, easy to rip in half and all this kind of stuff. Whereas a Susan B. Anthony dollar made out of some kind of alloy, the same alloy as a quarter, the new quarters that you get nowadays, is a mixture of several metals, which remain unnamed here. I don't recall what the metal is. I know there's some copper in it, a lot of copper. Maybe some zinc. Maybe the outside surface has got a lot of zinc in it or something. But it would be, I think the Susan B. Anthony is made out of the same alloy. It's multiple metals. The same alloy of that's designed for the U.S. quarter. But the Susan B. Anthony dollar is bigger than the quarter. About a quarter inch bigger than a quarter. A little bit thicker. And appropriately, then it's heavier. It's probably the weight of 3/4. That's all a gross estimation because I've never weighed a Susan B. Anthony dollar, number one. I have a device that could weigh it to, multiple decimal points. I've got a very sensitive digital scale because I used to refill these cylinders, for a device that makes seltzer water, in your kitchen. But now I buy my CO2 in 5-pound cylinders, and they fit nicely underneath the sink. And I've got 4 of those tanks, which I rotate through. I'm on my second one. So when I get to the point where I'm finished, where I'm connecting the 4th one, the last one, that's when I take the other 3 in to get them refilled. And that takes about 20 minutes. So I have to drive somewhere in Broward County, keg or something. I search it. I've been there several times. I think the address and everything is in the Tesla, in the car. Take me to Keg King, whatever it's called, and it'll go right there. Magical Tesla. Now you still have to, it's not total autonomous driving, but the thing will start going, and it'll steer, and you have to kind of like keep your hands near the steering wheel, and then pull your hands away when it goes into a turn, because it'll make left-hand turns, right-hand turns. It'll stop for the stoplights. It'll stop for the stop signs. And then it will look both ways, because it's got cameras everywhere. So make sure it won't run over Aunt Louise, walking across the street. It watches everything. But you have to watch, too, because it's, kind of in beta form. And it's unbelievable that they're releasing, the software to the buying public. They've actually given... Tesla has given me a month of full self-driving. And it's good through December 10th. And then that month that they gave me runs out. And it says, sorry, Jimmy, you're about to run out. If you want to continue it, go here and pay $100 a month. It's exactly the way it is. This is called puppy dog sales. But it's getting good. Now, I tried it, about a year ago. And it was, not so good. It was too aggressive. It would wait too long before it would start to brake, stop before the car in front of it. And it was too aggressive for me. I want to start slowing down sooner. Maybe 1 second sooner, for a smoother ride, so you're not slamming your passengers all over the place. So if you can, anyway, so. Anyway, in the news, you can see in the screen here, Katie Pavlich there is a delayed broadcast. I think I could actually, I'm not going to do it because you'd violate copyright laws if I directly put this as a camera with a live Fox News broadcast. I think YouTube, people that supervise this stuff, you're not allowed to rebroadcast this stuff unless you have permission. And I don't have permission. So I can't really, this is like in the background. You can't even hardly see it. I kind of keep an eye on it. It's a delayed broadcast. So I watch it, but I'm not really rebroadcasting it. It represents, no significant percentage of the screen here. If it represented a large percentage of the screen where you could actually see it and hear it, you'd be violating copyright rules that go along with these live broadcasts. You'd have to pay a fee to Fox News in order to rebroadcast their thing. Now, if you were doing a news show and just showing, like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes of one of their broadcasts, or 20 seconds, the lawyers for our company would contact the lawyers for Fox News, and they would write a copyright exception for you to rebroadcast this, Friday and Saturday, and that's it. It wouldn't be forever permission. It'd be a limited date. You could buy longer times, but you got to pay, whatever they charge. And, who knows? It could be $10,000 for 30 seconds worth of rebroadcast. It's, they don't give it away. It'd be something in that order of magnitude, I think. I think I got the right order of magnitude. So, anyway, so this has been a unique new kind of a broadcast, so to say. Anyway, so we're broadcasting over 3 networks: Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Twitter Live. The handle is, the @ FAU, the number 4 and U. FAU for you. How cool is that? Yeah. I got that before someone else did. Yeah. Someone that got the URL Bill Gates. And it wasn't Bill Gates. It was just some wise guy out in cyberspace. And Bill Gates, 20 years ago said, I want that URL. Tells his legal team, find out who the heck owns my name. And, there are billions of people out there. Maybe there's someone out there who's got the same name I have. I'm willing to pay X number of dollars because I want a URL that says www.billgates.com. I want that URL. I just recited for you the URL. That's an acronym that is known in cyber world as the address that you put up in your your browser or whatever else you have in your system where you're trying to go to a specific location in the world of cyber. Anyway, someone owned that other than the real Bill Gates, and Bill Gates ended up paying, several $1 million for his own name. But, when you're worth billions, all right, so you have to spend a couple million to get your name in the URL. Try Jim Wilson. Forget it. I don't know when that was taken up by whoever bought, because there are a lot of gyms out there, and there are probably a fewer number of Jim Wilsons, but there's 6 million Wilsons in Florida. Can you imagine? 6 million? Is that possible? Or maybe that's Jim. There are 20 million people in Florida, I think. Something on the order of that. 20 million people, 22 million. It's the right order of magnitude. Elon uses order of magnitude frequently when he talks about things like what I'm talking about. And you want to make the order of magnitude is it like 10 times? Is it 100 times? Is it 1,000 times? Each one of those steps is an order of magnitude. And when you divide or multiply a number, you think, is it 30? Is it 300? So you can whittle down, when you're looking at the different dimensions of things, or when you multiply or dividing a number by another number. Well, is that 30 or 300? Or is it 3? Oh, yeah, it's probably 30. So, when you're trying to do something in your mind, you divide up your mind into a couple of different file cabinets. And the first file cabinet is doing the rough math. And the second file cabinet, because you're doing this in your head, you're not writing anything down, you're thinking in terms of order of magnitude. Because we know the result is 30 or 300, or, it's like 30 feet in diameter. So you're multiplying and dividing. Well, how many centimeters that is? And you go back and forth with the math, and you think of what's the order of magnitude. If that's 30 feet in diameter, well, how many, centimeters would that be? Well, it's about 2.5 centimeters per inch. So if you multiply that by 2.5, 30 times 2.5 is 60. Is it 600? Is it 60? So you can use the order of magnitude. If you got 30 feet and multiply by 2.5, that's 60, 70, something like that. So that'd be 70. If you're trying to figure out how many inches, or millimeters, 25 millimeters per inch. Well, you got 30 feet in diameter. You multiply 30 feet, oh my God, times, 2.54. Anyway, that's how you do order of magnitude. This is about that picture, huh? Very cool. That's good morning. There, good morning. Look at that good morning. Ooh, that was a couple of days ago. What day was that? That was Wednesday at 6:25. See, because the exit data, the header of the file, there's a header on each file. It's almost like a sticky note that's put on a folder inside the file, which is this picture. There you go. That's a few days ago. It's Wednesday, when the moon was full. That's a full moonrise Good morning, Boca Raton. Oh, Jesus, look at that. A couple minutes later, you get that. So you got to have your camera ready, baby. And if you had a big old Canon camera with the marvelous lens that, goes 75 to 200 millimeters, the camera's a $4,000 camera. The lens is a $3,500 lens. So you got $8,000 or $9,000 worth of hardware in a camera and a lens. And it'd be very hard for it to get a better picture than what I got here out of my stupid iPhone. The iPhone's cameras they're not a joke. People think, it's just a phone picture. Well, it's there's a 48 million pixel imager inside this phone. And the main camera is 45 million pixels. 48 million pixels. I have this big old Canon camera. I mean, it's not that big. It's like a SLR kind of camera. It's got a 45 million pixel imager. Now I can shoot, 20 frames a second and has all kinds of other capabilities, for sports photography, which I have done an awful lot of for, a civilian, so to speak, not in the news business. Just part-time, I take sports photography for the USA Soccer organization and a number of family members of soccer players. And soccer players have born, if you have an athlete, say it that way, who I had an athlete that lived in Iceland. I forget the city. I may remember it as I'm doing the story. It's been a while. Like 15 years ago, 20 years ago. So this gentleman who used to be a football player at FAU was dating and is married to currently a cheerleader that was cheerleading at FAU when you took this picture. Now he's giving me this information in an email. Now, he emailed me because my email address is up on this website. And he said, look, you took a picture of my wife and then was a cheerleader. And can you make me an 11 by 14 of this picture I know exists in your inventory of pictures somewhere? So he gave me the year and so forth. So I went back and looked up this photo. It was in the FAU portfolios. I said, what game do you think I took this picture? He tells me the game. This is email, So he finally found the shot that he was looking for. And I said, look, you can go on the site. You can see you can get 11 by 14. You can get it in canvas. I can mount it for you but I can put it on a foam board, if you want to make a 20 by 30 of it and hang it on the wall. It's all right there. It'll ship right to you. The system will take your, I never see any data, but the system incorporated in the website will take your credit card information. I pay, if something costs, like if you ordered something that cost $100, for example, I would pay like $11 out of the 100 to handle shipping and the processing of this image and the printing of this image. The whole superstructure of that transaction would cost me about 11% of the price of whatever you do. So that's pretty, unbelievable amount of equipment that they have. They actually, in the earlier days, they contacted me and said, we would like you to, print these various prints. We'll pay for them. There'll be no charge. And we want you to feel the prints, touch the prints. We'll send them to you in exchange for you giving us a review. What you think about these 3, because we're going to print it with 5 of the best printing companies that we've screened. So they figured out what they believe are the 5 best printing companies in the United States, all over the place. So printing companies, submit themselves. Hopefully they win, So it's like a contest that people compete with all over the country. And they do it like every 5 years. So I haven't seen it recently. So they're probably about due to do, another review of the people that supply prints to the audience of everybody that's involved with either SmugMug, which is the hosting company, SMUG, Smug, MUG, smugmug.com. That's who's hosting the website that where I have all my photos at 4161100.com. How about that? 416-1100.com is the URL of where I have all my photographs. Rather than try to think of some jingle or some way of identifying this website, that anybody could just, if they know my phone number, they can get to my site with my pictures. Because it's the same thing. 416-1100 is my phone number. Now, I didn't make it 561-416-1100. I figured, well, we can leave off the area code. But I think I have I may be paying for a website right now where it's 561-416-1100. And that URL redirects itself to the 416-1100 site. So you don't have to duplicate all the pictures and everything and all the content that you got at 416-1100. You just have a referral, where so automatically, if someone types in my phone number, including the area code, they end up at 416-1100.com. Yep, that is a feature. That's just something you can do. Because you can refer. If you go to one URL, you can refer to another one. And that way, even if there's, Amazon has done that. Because there's so many people that, if you look at the keyboard that you have on a computer screen, which I'm looking at right now, I'm folding back all these things to protect the keyboard here. I'm going to go back here. Right, here we go. Get back in the image. The Z and the X are right next to each other. So if you're trying to get to Amazon.com and you accidentally spelled it with an X instead of a Z, it's still going to go to Amazon.com. Did you know that? Try it. You'll see. So next time you type in the URL, Amazon.com, if you ever type it, I got it on a button, so you type it once and you never type it again. But if you mistyped it, try it on your iPhone. Go to Amazon.com and use an X instead of a Z, and you're still going to go to Amazon.com because people do the typo. So Amazon just figures, well, if you just make a mistake with the typo, we'll still take you to Amazon.com. Or if you type in, I haven't tried this, Amazon.com, but hit the S instead of the Z, for example, it may still take you to Amazon.com because the letters that surround the letter Z, because people don't type Z that often. It's on the keyboard, but it's, if you look at keyboards that are like 20 years old, that have been in service for 10 or 20 years, you can see which keys have the most action. But reverse, you can see the keys that have the least action. like the Q, that's like the Z. There's not many words that have the letter Q in it. Likewise, there are only a couple of words you may be able to think of when someone even thinks of the letter Z. So, Amazon was one of the first that used to add some URLs and had them refer directly to Amazon.com, even though you typed it with an X instead of a Z. Yeah. And that could still be true now. Should I try it? Let's try it. So I'm going to open up your typical browser. Now this is on a page, which I'm going to just backspace that. And we're going to go www.amaxon.com. Let's see where that goes. So instead of Amazon, we have Axon. All right, I'm going to hit enter. Let's see where it goes. There it is. You see up in the very corner? Amazon, I told you. And you see up in the very top, it has Amazon. So even though you typed an X, it's still going to go to Amazon. Yes, sir. They may have to log into it, because it's come in from a different direction. Whereas if I type in Amazon correctly, all my passwords and things are like connected to Amazon.com, not X.com, where it came into this hello. See, it says hello up here, right here. It says hello, sign in. So let's sign in. Sign in. Then I type that, and it's going to try to. Let's see what happens if I do that. Let's go look for Face ID. I found it. And do you want 416B? I don't. So I'm going to go to this little key down in the corner. It's going to look for my face. And it's found it. I think it's Amazon with an A. So I may have to type it. Oh, no. So I'm going to go 416.1100 A. And this is an email address, so it should be at Gmail. GMAIL.com. So I'm going to go there to search for the password. I think I'm just going to go here because if I got lost, it's probably taking too much time. All right. Anyway, so if you type in an X instead of a Z, it's still going to go to Amazon.com, but then you better know your ID and your password because you're going to have to log in to get your account, because you came through Amazon with an X instead of directly to Amazon.com. Because if you go directly, then your iPad, your iOS device has linked your passwords and IDs to Amazon with a Z. You come in through the side door with an X, and then it refers to Amazon, from Amazon with an X to an Amazon with a Z. You're coming in you're not coming in the front door. You're coming in the side door. And if you're coming into this place, other than the front door, you better have the passwords to the back door. And they may be the same as the front door. but you just need to know what they are because your system says you've never come through the side door before. What's the passwords to get to your account? Because you're coming in the side door instead of the front door. And that's what's happened because Amazon has saved you the trouble of going to nowhere because you hit the Z key, the X key instead of the Z key. Yep. Happens all the time, particularly if you got, goofy fingernails, long fingernails. And because, that X and the Z, depending on how your angle of the dangle of your fingers and your hands and all that stuff. You got little hands, big hands. I don't know what kind of hands, but if you hit the wrong key by mistake, you'll still take you to Amazon. How about that? I don't think it covers every typo imaginable, but I know I've occasionally written wrong. I've typed in the wrong thing because my finger slipped onto the wrong key. All right, what are we doing here? We want all photos. There we go. So, you remember this guy? Well, Matt Getz got in trouble with a 17-year-old in some kind of a cocktail party with underage girls. And, you look at these women, and, they're 17, 18, 19, who the hell knows how old they are? So what are you going to do? Show me your license? The bartender's serving them at the bar. Of course, they shouldn't be serving them if they're underage. So if you go to a place and they're serving this young lady, you figure, well, that guy's probably, had to card her because she looks like she might be underage. Sometimes you can tell by listening to what they say. But the bartender is responsible for not serving underage people, boys or girls. That's the law. So in certain areas it's 21, certain areas it's 18. Well, these young girls can certainly look of age, even though they're underaged. It's up to the server, the restaurant, bar, it could be a bar within a restaurant. The servers are responsible for making sure they do not serve underaged human beings alcoholic beverages. Period. It's their responsibility. And if like a Florida state, if a state official, if a state officer would witness a bartender or a server serving an alcohol beverage to an underage person, they could lose their liquor license because they are responsible to serve alcoholic beverages to only those people that are equal to or greater than the age specified in the law. Okay? That's where it is. Anyway, Matt Getz apparently was involved in several gatherings, parties, boys and girls, where some of the girls were underage, including ones that Matt Getz was handling in some way. Hugging, kissing, whatever, and other things unmentionable. Anyway, he has been investigated by a police department where he partook in several of these parties. And there were police reports written. There were non-disclosure agreements written, which were violated. Money was paid to some of these people, female people, not to talk about it because it never happened. Remember? I'll give you $20,000 to keep your mouth shut. Well, said person says, I don't like you and I don't like Trump, so I'm going to louse you up. now that you've been nominated to be Attorney General, because you're a slimeball. You're, I don't like you anymore. I mean, it's personal. And I'm making all this up, but some of the summary facts are true. He did, at least at 2 occasions, who was involved in these parties that had at least one underage female that he was hugging, kissing, socializing with, took to his hotel room, some of the above, all the above. Anyway, so the news media found out about it. They've been reporting about it. And Matthew Getz met with several senators Friday morning, Saturday morning, whatever, over this last week. Since it's been like 2 weeks now, and Trump is now nominating some of these people to fill all the slots he's got to fill. So the transition team has been pre-vetting most of these people, but didn't have this key question on the questionnaire, which is unbelievable to me. And maybe they just didn't tell the truth. No, I never had any such encounter. Well, he thought he was covered with the NDA, the non-disclosure agreement, but he was not, because she came forward even though she signed an NDA. So sue me, which he may do, But he, over the weekend, decided this is too much for some of these senators, and I will not be able to be, I will not pass muster with the U.S. Senate, because these activities that I engaged in 4, 5, 6 years ago is too distasteful for them to, cover me with the advice and consent of the Senate. So it's a big distraction to the whole campaign. So I'll withdraw. I'll just go away. So that's what he did. In the last 24 hours, he said, "Please don't consider me. I am withdrawing as your pick for Attorney General of the United States." So that will stop all this, because of me and my background, which has a flaw in it. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, that's what he should have told Trump. I'm really sorry. This should have been disclosed, and they didn't disclose it. They're hungry to get in these spots, and they just, even though it's in their background, the police report was covered up, since there were underage people involved, when they gave information about this topic, they just used summary information without using the names of the people other than his name. And they said, that's all we're going to say about it. Well, they opened up, the congressman opened up the police report, and they got all the gory details. And meantime, Getz is looking, so he decided to withdraw. So he's out. And Pam Bondi, let's see if we can find a picture of her. There she is. She's, she was Attorney General of the state of Florida. And she has been campaigning for Trump because she's, from Florida. Trump's from Florida. So why not? I think I'm going the wrong way. There you go. Here's a picture of her with the story. Matt Getz praises Trump's AG replacement pick, Pam Bondi. There it is. Pam Bondi. She was Attorney General of the state of Florida for 8 years. And, worked with the governor of Florida, and Florida enjoys, I'm in Florida, one of the safest states in the United States. So with the Attorney General, And the police agencies throughout the state of Florida and each of its 67 counties, I believe. We're in Palm Beach County, the southern part of Palm Beach County. About 2 or 3 miles from the county line to Broward County. If you get on Federal Highway, you go down there a couple miles, you cross the county line. Somewhere between 10th Street and 18th Street, I think. I don't know which street. Maybe it's, could it be, I don't know. Anyway, we're just several miles away from the edge of the county line of Broward County, of Palm Beach County. Yeah, there you go. Matt Gaetz praises Trump's Attorney General replacement pick, Pam Bondi. There she is. Do I have a story with that somewhere? No, there's no story yet. Story will happen soon, because now they're going to lean on her and her background and start investigating her. Hopefully she doesn't have any sordid details about her background. I doubt it, unless something happened, if you will, between the time that Pamela Bondi stopped being Attorney General. She's not Attorney General currently in the state of Florida. She's doing other things. She's probably involved in a think tank somewhere. She's a very talented, tough. She's a tough one. Nice. Don't let her niceness fool you. She is. She knows the law, and if she is charged with the responsibility of dispensing the law, so to speak. I remember someone used that word, dispensing. It's like you're giving someone some vitamins. Well, when you're in the law and order business, you're dispensing justice. So as the Attorney General, she was dispensing justice to either the victims, or the perpetrator. It's someone did something wrong. You come to me with a crime. So now I have to dissect this and figure out, who am I going to prosecute for it? Every crime has someone to prosecute. Unless, it's so fringe that there is some deference as to the sourcing of whatever you did wrong, if you did something wrong. Maybe if you didn't do anything wrong, then, there's nothing to report. But they're going to be digging in. That's what they do. They give you a 0.99 reflect 99% of the vote, but there's that 1% out there. You open up, the whole data mine of what could be happening with the state of Florida. There you go, and flip the pages so that there's a black background. Yep. Well, so that was interesting. I actually broadcasted for you some. It wasn't live feed, but it was a audio. It's a movie, if you will, not live. It was a broadcast of a recorded, setting of the SpaceX's sixth launch of that vehicle that I've got on the screen here. Yeah. That was not on the. That was on the 20th. Wednesday? No. It was before that. Anyway, it was this picture right here. Do I have exit data on that? That could be the time. I don't think that was the time and date of launch, because this would be before the launch. This date, this picture, right? They haven't assembled the rocket yet, so it'd be at least several days after that was connected. And these between these different positions, whoops, they can attach that to it. Remember it's 30 feet in diameter. That's probably 50 feet apart. So move the rocket over. Yeah, it's on wheels. Yeah, amazing. And there's some stairwells. You can see the stairwells here. This is a really big, heavy duty, unbelievable. This steel here this is a serious piece, and manufactured right here. You can see this lower part. It does not have all the features. Amazing. Anyway, when this thing took off, either the engine blast or something, there was an antenna up on the top that was bent over a little bit. And because of that, it prevented the signals coming and going from the Space Center and the rocket, the engine above. And because that signal was interrupted for some reason, unknown reason, even though they don't need that signal to be connected to land it on those calipers, because the primary system is in the spacecraft itself. Here this guy is showing that as of that, yeah, that's what happened with that. All right, so Pam Bondi, we have I think I have some screenshots. Well, let's do this live. I can go live right here. Let's see, where is it? Go here, and I'll come to. So I sent it out to everybody. Yeah, it should be on this page. Good morning. Going through all these. I'm going back in time to where. There it is. House results. I'm going to press that tab. And that takes me to Axios. And I want to see the web view. So here's where we're 219 to 213 as far as the House of Representatives. They're leading in 2 races. So far they've had a net gain of 1. And the Democrats have 213 seats, representing all the red areas in this. And it's amazing. It's 2.5 weeks since the election, and they're this middle section was the ones that were too close to call, as far as leaning left or leaning right. So all the races have been California 13, California 45, and Iowa 01. 99% of the vote counted, and they still can't call it for sure because they got, these mail-in ballots. They got to wait out the time period. So they need to change these state laws. So, Florida got all its votes counted, but by 11 o'clock Tuesday night, the day of the election, the polls closed in Florida, the equivalent of 7 or 8 o'clock, 7 standard, 8 in the panhandle, because the state of Florida goes over to to the edge of the next time zone, which would be Central Standard Time instead of Eastern Standard Time. So you can understand, so that would be an hour behind. So, but they're not in, multi-million-dollar population centers like Palm Beach, the standard statistical area surrounding the airports, what is known as the SMSA. Anyway, Florida collects all this information, counts all the votes. All mail-in votes have to be in the polling location. They had to be received by Palm Beach County or the polling location, before 7 p.m. on Tuesday. Because at 7 p.m. we lock our doors. If you showed up at 8 p.m. to a polling location where you want to physically walk in the door, like hundreds or thousands of people do, or they just have a polling yep. Someone's waving a fork at me. I'm wondering if we have a fork. We've had some utensils and a bowl or a cup from one of the Palm Beach County polling locations. So they may be waving at me to say, hey, is this yours? Okay. We got 3 races going. Republicans have 2. Democrats have 1. Still outstanding. We can go to this map. And right above the map, there it is. They're leading in 1 race. And the Republicans are leading in 2 races. So 19, 20, 21, and 20 in 2014. Let's just say they win that seat. That would be the margin. 214 to 221. And so it's still, of course, it's 11, 10, 9, 8. It's only like 8 o'clock in the morning in California, so they had this They're either waiting for, the time limits on, things have to be in, on election day. God damn it. And they just, the federal government needs to issue criteria for the holding of federal elections because they got this every 2 years. Every 4 years, it's a presidential election. So this is 2024. Well, in 2026, the entire House of Representatives is up for election again. Some ballot issues, if any. As far as Russia is trying to protect outstanding election standards and require that all states adopt the federal standards if we're going to conduct national elections. Everyone must adhere to the standards. It's as simple as that. So here's all the precinct locations. So you add all those up, and it should add to 235 unless they're properly. Couple races to go. Whoops. Yeah, this is November. Refill button. Yeah, 219 to 213. Yeah. So this is true and correct as of 11:23 a.m. 31 seconds ago. When I pushed the refresh thing, when I entered the URL, Axios automatically updates as soon as you join the site. But you could leave that on your screen, until 3 p.m. And they may have called another race or two, while you had this loaded for visibility. Then you have to reload the URL to catch the update. If they called a race, you would think today, all the races would be done. You got 3 races that aren't finished yet. What the heck's going on here? One in Iowa. What are they doing? Dusting and cleaning? It started in Iowa. Done it. Somewhere in Iowa. I have a street address. I know I can request information. I'm actually sending it. There you go. All right, well, we'll check back here. I guess tomorrow we check back here, and hopefully tomorrow's Saturday. But, I'll probably do a broadcast at 9 o'clock Saturday morning, unless Marilyn drags me out to breakfast if she gets up early enough. I usually try to get her to sleep in on Saturdays, and then I do my broadcast from 9 to 11, and then she gets up at 10:30, and we join each other for breakfast somewhere. Probably Flicklets, if we get there. You know, well, I don't know. We'll see what happens, see when she gets up. In the meantime, we march closer to, January 20th. This is November 20th. Oh, 22nd, actually. So, we got 2 months less 2 days. 8 weeks, 7 weeks, and 5 days would be how long we got until the new president takes office, which would be after New Year's, because it would be January 20th. I think on January 6th, these are all dates called for right in the Constitution or the amendments thereto. And January 6th, the Vice President of the United States delivers the electoral votes to a joint session of Congress, in which they are duly recorded and acted upon with the slamming of the gavel. That happens on January 6th. And then, essentially, the president is elected, and he is sworn into office several weeks later. Because January 6th to January, 19th or 20th. I think the 20th. I see there's 219. There's so many 19s floating around in my head. I think January 20th. Yeah, I think that's the date. The inauguration. Then he is inaugurated. And then he is sworn into office. I, Donald J. Trump, swear to uphold the Constitution of the United States. And and you repeat after me. And the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States is the person standing with the president, swearing him in with hands up. One hand on the Bible and one hand up. As the president is sworn in by the Chief Justice of the United States of America. And that's at 1 p.m. Exactly. Yeah. And they've been doing this for 257 years. It's kind of amazing. But our society is very fragile. If the Democrats, it appears that the Republicans have, won this election, all these officers will be sworn into their office positions, meaning the House and the Senate. The House is going to be controlled by the Republicans. 53 votes to 47. 53 senators to 47 senators. The last of which has, conceded their election, And the House of Representatives is still not set yet. They're still counting votes, unfolding. You got different time zones, and they're adding up every single vote because that's what they have to do anyway. So that's what's. I guess we're gonna have to wait. Will they get it all done today? You would think there should be a real press. Isn't this embarrassing? It should be embarrassing for them that they have not counted. Stay up late, for God's sakes. Don't work 9 to 5. Work later. Unfolding and counting. Well, that's why we need some national standards so that they have to do things by different times Or else they get an shit. But we don't want to. The people that are in office don't want to give up their position. That's why they don't want to have a recount, because that could mean, that's a real close election. That could mean, well, you thought you were elected, but you really weren't, because the recount came in the other way. And of course, then the people say, well, I want another recount. That's what happened when Bush got elected. Oh my God, Bush 43, the son of Bush 41, the 41st and the 43rd president of the United States. And this is a few later. This is 47. Now, President Trump was president as the 45th president, and then Biden is the 46th president, and then Trump becomes the 47th vice president. There was some talk, it was all talk, that it was recommended that Kamala take over as president, have the current president resign, because he's non-compos mentis, maybe, sort of, and let Kamala, run the government for the last 6 weeks of the presidential term. Then she would become the 57th, and then Trump would be the 58th. I don't think that's going to happen. The last I heard, Kamala is, I think I have a photograph of that. Yeah, done. I'm not in my photographs. I have a picture. So many pictures when you have, when you get, there we go. Kamala flees to Hawaii after election loss. So she's in some protected resort community, in a nice high Regency hotel. I'm making it up. I don't know where she is in Hawaii, but she's in Hawaii somewhere, according to the Daily Beast. If you look at the corner of this photo, the Daily Beast, which is an internet site, and they have the Flipboard, right? That's the site that I use. And Flipboard says, Kamala flees to Hawaii. Flipboard is this application with an F. I'm going to hit this little arrow thingy. I'm going to go that way. You see, then these will cycle through. Ukraine military says Russia ICBMs. Police reports reveal details about an alleged assault, that the God. I can't go backwards to that yet. Where the Pete Hegseth has been selected to become Secretary of Defense, subject to congressional oversight, namely senatorial advice and consent. So, the way I understand it, whatever this sexual experience that Hegseth had, it was not with an let's see. I'm trying to think if it was with an underage person or not. I'm having the feeling that whatever happened was not with an underage, but it was with a person that says she was assaulted. Now, people interviewed people, and they got police reports and all that stuff. And apparently her story has changed a few times. And he has not. His position is, whatever happened between me and what's-her-face was consensual, period. And no one can really ascertain otherwise. And it's been investigated, and the matter has been closed until now, because now we have all this other media attention to it. And they're just going to have to swallow the fact that no one else is coming forward to say anything. You know, it's all in the police reports, and read it for yourself. And unless the actual person that says they were assaulted comes forward and becomes interviewed by the U.S. Senate in a senatorial hearing, unless that person is willing to do that and stick to their story so that the senators can decide if Peter Hegseth has the character. Can we check off the character checkbox? He has the military experience. He has television experience, so he knows how to speak to the public, which is important. I mean, that's an ingredient of being a good Secretary of the Defense. You speak up for the entire military complex of the Pentagon and the armed services, you know, the Army, you know, Navy, Air Force, Marines, you know, Space Force. You speak for all of the above, all, you know, and there's millions of people, several million people involved in that entire complex of all those souls that are in the military chain of command, from the foot soldier to the command structure in the Pentagon. And I'm the soul, not me. I don't mean me. What do you call it? Donald Trump is the supervisor, so to speak. He's in, you know, so Hegseth would be, if confirmed by the Senate, would be in the cabinet. That's a cabinet level position. And I have an image to show the cabinet. Let's see if I can find them. As a, I had it here, no, that's too far ago. I need to hit photos, all photos. Sorry while I look for this, but it's a fairly good display. There it is. Let's go here. It's amazing how I reduced all these to like images. This is from a website. This is from the New York Times website. These are the positions that require confirmation. And you can see all the entries up there. Now the Attorney General, that'd be Bondi. But if we go to the New York Times site, which we will, I'll do that. I don't know if the president will do any, nominate. These are announced nominations, and they all require senatorial confirmation. So each one of these would be subject to a hearing before the Senate, and then they would, based on that, they would vote, up or down for their confirmation. You got 100 senators, you need 51 of them. Well, we have 53, so if all the Republicans go for a particular candidate, and the Democrats, are obstructionists and vote no on every single one of them, but let's just assume that. So you got 53 senators. You got to have 2 senators drop out, and you still can nominate somebody. because you got 53, that would bring it down to 51. If it got down to 50-50, the vice president would count to, I think, for a confirmation, the president of the Senate is the vice president. And, of course, he's not sworn into office yet. He doesn't get a vote. Let's see. So the current vice president, and that's Kamala, she's certainly not going to break a tie in favor of the Republicans. So you got to have 51 senators go along with every candidate, because you're not going to get any help, because we don't have a Republican president of the Senate. That's held by Kamala. Kamala Harris is the vice president of the United States. She is not going to be the tie-breaking vote. So forget tiebreaker from the VP. That ain't going to work. So all these positions require confirmation. And we got a number of open, like labor, agriculture, housing, the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, if you're wondering what that stands for. Surgeon General. All right, the next photo. These are confirmations that have been made so far that do not require confirmation. Like the Vice President of the United States, he doesn't require confirmation. He serves in the cabinet. He's the Vice President of the United States. He got elected by everybody. So he doesn't get confirmation. He's automatically in because he was elected. Now he gets sworn in on the 20th. A lot of these people, well, not these people, if they're not confirmed, before, inauguration day, then, those cabinet positions remain open until they're confirmed. So the Senate is going to go like crazy to try to get these people, in public hearings and so forth, so the confirmations can come in a timely manner, because Trump is going to want to jump into action, and he needs his cabinet to do it, because he can't do it at all. You got, millions of people that report up through the chain of command in the United States government. It's big. Jeez. There's some 4.5 million people in the chain of command of the President of the United States. Now, all these positions, like the Deputy Chief of Staff, the Chief of Staff herself, Susan Wiles, remember her? So you got the Deputy Chief of Staff. You got another Deputy Chief of Staff. You got two of those. Because the job is so big. Another deputy, I guess all these people are deputy chiefs of staff. Stephen Miller. He's a non-lawyer that looks like a lawyer. National Security Advisor. He is not a confirmed spot. Michael Waltz. He's been seen on Fox often. He's been giving Fox advice as to, the political question of the day, whatever they're talking about. It has to do with the U.S. government. He's been around the edges of it for a long time, really close to the edges of it. Part of it. White House counsel, not a confirmed spot, meaning it doesn't require confirmation. Chairman of the Economic Directors, not confirmed. Stephen Chung, Press Secretary, Carolyn Levitt. So that's a named position rather than a nomination, because when Trump says you're in, you're in. So this 27-year-old lady named Carolyn Levitt, she is the named press secretary of the United States of America. So she will speak to the entire press corps, well, about 45 of them in the White House. So she'll be in the White House, and every day, at like 1 or 2 in the afternoon, she'll be before at least 45 agents of all the media of all over the world, mostly USA. White House staff secretary, personnel guy named Sergio Gore, G-O-R, Gore. Government efficiency person, Elon Musk. Government efficiency person, Vivek Ramsey. Now, their named positions don't require confirmation. So they're gonna meet and talk to people and write memos, and then we'll go through some presidential, screening, and they are going to with the president, or the president with their support, will then go to the appropriate cabinet officer. I think the supervisor of I think the secretary, the educational secretary, and here she's been named, Linda McMahon. She announced. They haven't been seated yet because they require senatorial confirmation, as does Matthew Whitaker. He's going to be in charge of, from the U.S. perspective, NATO, the North American Treaty Organization. Matt Wright, he's dealing with energy. These are kind of like in the order of when they were nominated. There's still some seats. Labor, Treasury, Agriculture, Housing, CDC. You have, these are like, this is senatorial confirmation required, yep. And these are the positions that have been announced. That's why you see, they just have in here named, because that's done. Unless they tell the president, no, I don't want the job. I've changed my mind. Yeah. I don't think this 27-year-old is going to change her mind. Now, she has been the spokesperson for the Republican campaign when Trump was running around the country campaigning. She was the interface to the press. And she is currently the interface with the press regarding the transition team, and what they're doing. So she's buzzing around there, picking up the slack and understanding how the transition team is performing and what they can publicly say, which would then be translated to Caroline and what she can say and what she can't say. So, White House counsel or these people that are in the transition team, which can be some lawyers and former, people that are in the White House advising the president, family members. They're all huddling with Caroline Levitt so that she can get a feel for, how this is going to be when you're dealing with the president of the United States, as opposed to Donald Trump, campaign person. Running for president is different than being president. And so would the mouthpiece of the press secretary. So she basically got to go all over the world with the president. She's in a suitcase for the next, because she's either going to be in Mar-a-Lago or she's going to be wherever the hell the president decides to be. Whether it's one of his golf courses in the United States, because he likes to play golf. But you're not going to play golf, all the time. He's a working guy. He's going to be 18 hours a day, 7 days a week for every once in a while. Every other Saturday or Sunday, he'll play golf wherever he is with his granddaughter or whatever. Yeah, friends. So these are the non-confirmations that we've heard of so far. And the only one, several, I know like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 21. I got 14, 15, 16. So we got 16 people so far. There's 7 up there, 7 down there, and 2 there. So that's 14, 15, 16. The FCC. That's the Federal Communications. Let's go over here. Is there an FCC confirmed? I don't think so. I haven't heard of an FCC. I'm trying to think of who the FCC guy reports to in this confirmed chain of command thing, other than the vice president and the president. Yeah, that's implied. There's several of these people. Is it under the transportation? That Sean Duffy. He may be maybe commerce. It's one of these two, I believe. All right, we're done. It's 11:53. It's Friday. I think I'm gonna make some pasta, clean up the kitchen, get the trash ready to go. Charles, please assemble the trash. We're going to visit the trash chute. Yeah, we'll do that. All right. Meantime, you guys prepare for your finishing up your week's work and get ready for the weekend. Have a good weekend. You can always call in here, 416-1100.com. 561-416-1100. You can text me even after the broadcast. It comes right into the phone. Just explaining your text who you are. Like my name is, and say what you want to say. And if you want other people to hear it, you can tell me that. If you want to keep it confidential, you can tell me that also. If you want to, you can attach a picture of who you are, if you feel like it. Otherwise, I'm going to see you, Monday for sure, and we'll see if there's going to be a Saturday broadcast. If it is, it'll be 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock is the number. I'm actually ready. Now, yesterday, we didn't have a broadcast. I'm sorry. And the reason why is the internet was dead for all of Southern Palm Beach County. I had no internet. I had limited cable with, Xfinity. But the internet, there was no internet connection. I was connected to it with the cables and everything, but and I bought high-speed internet. Nope. We have an outage. So there was an outage where tens of thousands of us did not have internet in this part of the county. It could have been construction, who knows. Microwaves that changing dishes. They never tell you exactly what's going on because it's competition secret. You have competition, heavy competition. So when they upgrade their equipment and it interferes with subscribers, that's when people decide to go somewhere else, so to speak. The other thing I got to do today, which I have right on top of my list of things to do, is I got to deal with Maryland's. I'm going to keep it right on top here. I got to call into AARP and make sure she's signed up. Because I got mine and I got her applications and so forth and approvals from the AARP United Healthcare Supplemental Insurance. Yeah. No more Advantage Plus on these different insurance. We have Humana, Advantage, whatever. Forget it. The drug piece is terrible, and so we're going to jump into the supplemental insurance, which automatically renews every year, as does the other. But as you get older, the supplemental insurance covers more. You have fewer at lower, or if any. We're using Plan G. G means good. F or G. I forget what the differences are, but it was worth it to get G. F, G, and N. That was a good one. So after reviewing all the information that I got and speaking with the licensed consultants that actually book you into these different plans, which you're on the phone with for at least 2 hours. I did it for me and Marilyn, me, myself, and I, just the two of us. I got phone numbers directly hitting all these different things. But, so the drug piece, you pay $133. Well, you pay $90-something a month, and then you have, co-pays up to $570.96. That is it. That's for me anyway. And you pay $92.20 a month. You add it all up and divide by 12 and go and it ends up costing $133 a month for me. And that's all, there's nothing more than that. Now it's all spread out over a year. So you pay $92.20 a month this is just the drug piece. And then you pay no more than $570.96 for all your copays on your drugs. So if you multiply 92 times 12, add 570 to it, and then divide back by 12, it's $133 a month. And for Maryland, it'll probably be, $120 a month. But, I have some expensive drugs. And if you hit the donut hole, that kind of stuff, well, with these kinds of plans, there's no donut hole. You just have a maximum amount of a copay that you'll pay. And then after that, they pay 100%. Whereas the Advantage Plus crap, you got $5,000 worth of expenses for that drug. And then you got to pay 25% of the drug thereafter. Well, 25% of $2,000, with this one drug I have, it costs $1,800 a month. Just one drug. Semaglutide. 2 milligrams of semaglutide. Injections I take once a week. Cost, $1,700 a month. Well, you multiply 1,700 times 25%. It's like $135, $140 a month. That's the copay? Jeez. You have to do that for 7 months? That's, and it adds up to a big number. So, we're going to try this and see what happens. And hopefully we don't go to the hospital at all. But I got the applications in here. I got my little book of information. Since we pick Plan G, I'll trash all the other information on all the other plans so we can just keep focused on one thing. And then I'm not going to throw away the other stuff. I'm just going to put it in a different folder. So I have one place. This little envelope is going to have everything in it. It has SAVE written on the front cover. United Healthcare has got red letters up here. I got Scotch tape on there so they don't wear off. This is my little package from my insurance package. Yeah, but I'll put it in one of these plastic sleeves and put it behind there. And that's my filing cabinet, right behind on air. Yeah. All right, folks. This is the end of this broadcast. It's record-breaking 3 hours and 1 minute. You all have a great weekend. Bye-bye. I'll give you 30 seconds of Epidemic Sound instrumental, royalty-free.